Hello, my name is Sarah Putnam, and I'm a candidate for my Master's in Educational Technology at Boise State. This is a reflection video that will highlight some of my major accomplishments as I pursue my degree. This video is my final task in obtaining my degree in Educational Technology. I currently live in Northern Virginia with my husband, and have been teaching earth science at a local high school for several years. I also am the varsity volleyball coach. I've been coaching basketball and volleyball for about 6 years now, but now I've settled into just coaching varsity volleyball, both of which keep me very busy. As a science teacher, I love being able to use technology to help my students explore everything that science has to offer. What I love the most about technology is that it's always changing. I consider myself a lifelong learner, and technology encourages me to continue learning. In the beginning of the program, I created my very first blog using WordPress. This was created for EdTech 501 and continued to serve as a place where I could gather and organize all of my projects. This blog served as a place where I reflected on all of my tasks throughout the program and to track my professional growth. The learning log has been extremely important to me as I was able to compile everything in one location. It was very beneficial to have this space throughout the program. So beneficial that now I have my honors students creating and maintaining their own blog via WordPress for my earth science classes. This provides the students with the same experience to document their growth and their learning, as well as to improve on their writing skills while maintaining a blog. Now let's navigate to my EdTech portfolio. This is my portfolio website that I have created using Google Sites. It contains several projects that I have completed throughout my journey here at Boise State. This is the homepage where I introduce myself and my goals. Several projects that I have completed are aligned with the AECT standards. These serve as my artifacts for demonstrating my mastery of each standard. There is at least one project aligned with each substandards, and that was challenging for me as I created so many artifacts that I felt fell into each of these substandards that it was hard to just decide on one or two. The rationale paper discusses in detail how each artifact pertains to the particular standard I have aligned with it and how it demonstrates my mastery. Let's go back and highlight a couple projects that I feel demonstrate my skills and my ability and my growth throughout the program. Let's start with this standard 1, which is design. I'd like to focus on 1.1 and my second artifact being the Shenandoah National Park Rocks project. This is a project-based learning activity that I created from scratch for EdTech 542. Project-based learning allows the learner to interact, engage, understand meaning, learn content, and develop critical thinking and 21st century skills, all of which benefit the student inside and outside the classroom. I chose Google Sites as the host for this website mainly because I learned so much about Google in EdTech 501 that I wanted to continue to expand my knowledge, and I felt what better way to do so than to immerse myself in developing this website. Since creating this lesson on Google Sites and using Google for my projects in EdTech 541, I have created my own classroom website for my students through Google. This is Earth Science Rocks, the website that I have for my students. At the moment, the website is under construction as we have just finished our school year. But here I upload all of our homework, various quizzes, labs, worksheets, notes for students and parents to access if need be. Let's head back to my project-based learning activity. If we click on the overview link over here, I provide myself and other teachers with a background of what this project might entail, including driving questions that allow the students to focus and really hone in on the content that they want to include in their project. Standards that, of course, address Virginia as the state that I work in. And I also provide 2 different introductory activities for teachers to introduce this project to their students. Coming back to navigation here, I also include a project timeline which outlines when certain aspects of the projects will be completed. This is slated to be completed in about 3 weeks, give or take a few days, and can be adjusted depending on the students and the time allowed. All of the assessments that are created for this project are also found here. There are rubrics and a checklist for students to complete, as well as a Google form that serves as a quiz for students. This particular quiz is something that students for this project complete weekly, and it is content-based. It will demonstrate their progress in learning the content information on a weekly basis. Since creating this, I now give my students mini quizzes via Google Form that I upload to my class website for students to complete at home, in study hall, or on our classroom set of iPad minis. Since creating this project, I have been more diligent about creating tasks and assignments that allow students to tap into their creativity and use technology. More and more inquiry activities have been created and implemented with students taking ownership of their learning. Without completing this activity, I probably would not have as detailed of a class website, using Google Form, and just being aware of how students can really use technology to improve their skills, take ownership of their learning, and see that growth within themselves. All right, let's move on and head back to my portfolio webpage. Next, I would like to highlight in Standard 2 some tasks I completed for EdTech 502. Here we'll be clicking on the Jigsaw activity, which meets Standard 2.3. EdTech 502 was one of the more challenging courses as I had to write CSS and HTML codes for the first time. I spent a significant amount of time developing these lessons and writing the codes for each page. Despite the difficulty at first, I learned a tremendous amount about creating and designing a website that appeals to the audience, maintains consistency, all links working properly, and provides the intended information. This particular assignment integrates computer-based technology by providing professional development for teachers to learn about various topics that involve computer-based technology integration in their classroom. Now let's go back to the home page for EdTech 502 and take a look at some other tasks. One of the hardest things was trying to maintain consistency throughout the whole entire site. I'd like to take a look at a couple of the assignments here. Let's take a look at the accessibility hot links page. Here you can see that I maintain a consistent color scheme, and there are several external links that pop out at you, and they even tell you it's an external link. You can navigate to different sections of the web page and back to the top. As we move from one activity to the next, you will notice that more details are provided and more complex codes are written in order to provide those details. For example, in the Jigsaw activity, I had to embed a table here with the external links inside of the table. Okay. This page also provides a link back to the 502 homepage, which is something that the web accessibility page did not offer. Jumping back, I created a mobile learning activity, which was an activity that was designed for mobile devices that made me think, and it opened my eyes as to how websites are different on various mobile devices and how information has to be formatted in a slightly different way in order to present the information to the user. The final project in 502 highlights everything that I have learned in the class. This is the web quest. I chose to create a web quest that I could use immediately in my classroom, and honestly, that is one of the best things about this program is that everything that I have created, I can apply it immediately into my practice. Creating this web quest made me think about web quests in general. And honestly, before this assignment, my fellow teachers and I would create questions from various different websites for our students to answer. In making this web quest and using this web quest in my classroom, my science teachers and I have changed our ways to include more in-depth and critical thinking on the student's end. Through modeling this change, by using this particular example, other science teachers have embraced including higher level thinking into their web quests. They rely on more than just looking up certain information. This particular web quest has students choosing a specific topic. Students, once they choose the topic, will explore various resources and create a presentation. However, the presentation is not meant just to be shown for students inside the classroom. The presentation is meant to be presented at a local museum. This web quest brings in different forms of technology, student creativity, and connection to the community, which will improve on their 21st century skills. Students are provided with a rubric as to how they will be assessed on the type of information they have, the resources, their citations, their organization, and the design and graphics of the project itself. Through all of EdTech 502, I learned how to better help students create their own projects, presentations, and blogs. I have more skills and knowledge to know what questions to ask and facilitate as I guide students through the creation process and their own demonstration of their knowledge. This web quest also includes a teacher page which outlines for other teachers the purpose of this web quest, description of the types of learners, what the learners will have to be able to know and do before jumping into such an activity, objectives, and the standards. All right, let's go back to my portfolio website and take a look at the final artifact I'd like to discuss. The final artifact that I would like to discuss is the hybrid earth science course that I created for EdTech 522. This artifact meets a couple of different standards and is another course that really placed me out of my comfort zone, but I am grateful for it. I was tasked with creating a syllabus and 5 modules that could be used in my current teaching setting. The first decision I had was choosing what LMS I was going to use. I chose Moodle as that is the most familiar to me, and my current school district does offer courses through Moodle. So I was able to set up this course through my current high school. That being said, a user would have to log in to this using a username and password, and that information can be found in my rationale paper. For this, I was responsible for choosing the layout of the course, the color scheme, assignments with assessments, interaction between classmates, and then interaction with the teacher. Each module follows relatively the same format in that there are objectives with an introduction, directions, resources, and forums for discussion and submitting assignments. This course is a hybrid course. That being said, it opens the door for students who are usually accustomed to a traditional classroom setting to prepare them for an online environment. It will prepare the students for future classes that they are required to take. I gained knowledge of various tools that I'll be able to put into my online course for my 9th grade students. Currently, the course is still going through the approval process by the school system before it can be fully implemented. However, I have taken some of the assignments I made for this course and integrated them into my classroom. The artifacts that I've outlined in this video, along with the others on my portfolio, really demonstrate how I have grown professionally with the use and integration of technology. Throughout these courses, I've developed several projects that can either be used in my classroom for professional development or to model technology integration for other teachers. Most of all, I've built a skill set that allows me to use my knowledge of theory, CSS HTML codes, Google, hypermedia, and other technological tools to assist my students in mastering content objectives and working on their own 21st century skills. It gives me the tools and the confidence in order to help other teachers integrate that same technology. I appreciate and love the fact that I was challenged throughout my entire journey. Without the challenge of many of my courses, I would not have the skills necessary to be an effective technology integrator. I'm able now to integrate technology effectively, work with policies to advocate change, and serve as a teacher leader who models technology with the use of students. I no longer use technology for the sake of bringing it into my classroom. There's a purpose for the tools that are used, and those purposes and goals are to be examined prior to the use of that tool. I've gained several tools that are now in my toolbox, and I am excited to continue to learn and use those tools in my classroom. Thank you.